My name is Ben. I own Maps Machine. Me and my company help remodelers. We've helped about 50 in the last 6 months, and we specifically help them get from like under $500,000 in revenue because they're still a GC, and we help them turn them into a specialist remodeling company that's doing north of 5 million. After auditing hundreds of accounts in the last 6 months, I've seen 5 things that pretty much hold back almost every single account I've seen. And instead of charging you to fix this, I'm just gonna show it to you. So the first thing that holds general contractors back from actually getting high ticket jobs is that they don't own their assets. Now, I want to be specific here. When you don't own your assets, what I mean by that is you don't own your site, you don't own your Google business profile, and you get charged monthly for those things. So this is like the business model of a lot of low ticket, like tiny SEO companies, is that they charge you like $200 a month, they make your website for free, and they do SEO. The problem is that type of marketing, that type of SEO, is not going to bring in the high ticket jobs. I mean, think about it like this. If you could spend $200 a month to bring in $500,000 full home remodels, why are we not all full home remodelers and making millions of dollars, right? There's a logical fallacy there. There has to be a different type of mechanism that brings in the higher ticket jobs. So with that being said, in order to get the bigger jobs, we have to make sure that we own the site, Google Business Profile, and we're not being charged monthly for that stuff, because it prevents us from making changes. It prevents us from being a dynamic company that modifies our site, modifies our Google Business Profile, modifies our digital presence when we need to. Number 2 on the list, and probably the most important thing that holds a general contractor back from getting the bigger jobs, is niching down. And I wanna go over what I mean by this, because almost every general contractor I speak to, when I say niche down, they kind of roll their eyes, you know, and they're like, all right, Mr. Marketer, like, we all know we're supposed to niche down, but what about X, Y, and Z job, right? That, you know, you're doing all different types of work because you don't necessarily get to pick the type of work that comes in from your referrals, right? So what I mean by niche down is not that I want you to start saying no to every job today. What I mean is, for marketing purposes, your site, your Google Business Profile, your reviews, when we don't niche down, we don't get to ever get recommended by AI, and we also don't get picked by customers. And I want to use an example here from my own life that I think will make my point pretty clear. So let's say my wife is sitting in the bathroom and she just got back from her friend's house and they have like the prettiest master bathroom ever, right? So my wife comes back, looks at our bathroom, takes a picture of it, and she uploads it to AI. And she has a short conversation with ChatGPT, or Google's AI mode, and talks about the price of getting the bathroom that her friend had, or some of the problems with her current bathroom. And after a full conversation, my wife asks, well, how do I get this done? And then ChatGPT says back, would you like some local recommendations from companies that can help you? Now think about it from ChatGPT's perspective. ChatGPT wants to keep their customer, right? They don't want my wife to go to other platforms. So they want to recommend a company that can actually help. So who do you think ChatGPT is going to recommend? The general contractor, the kitchen remodeler, or the bathroom remodeler for my wife's bathroom specific request? You see what I'm talking about here? So when we're niching down using our marketing presence, there are 3 things that I need you to focus on when it comes to niching down. And this is your GBP, your site, and reviews. And when you do these 3 things, when people find you online, again, when they find you online, they're gonna know that you're a specialist, which allows you to charge more, do a better job, hire a team, the whole shebang. We'll talk about that in other videos. But if you don't niche down, you're always gonna be stuck fighting people on price, because that's the only thing that makes you different. The 3rd thing on the list is probably the most forgotten about thing for remodeling, which is to verify an address on your Google Business Profile. Now, a lot of people that I talk to, they're really nervous about doing this, because most remodelers or general contractors, they work out of like a home office, right? Now, some people have verified their home office, and unfortunately, as of a couple years ago, that is no longer approved by Google. Google doesn't allow that, and unfortunately, sometimes they just shadow ban you, which means you're never gonna get leads, or they straight up ban you, and they remove your address randomly. Some of you may have had that happen. When you verify an address, you're telling Google and you're telling the internet where your business is located. So if somebody ever searches for a kitchen remodeler in Utah, well, if you're just kind of vaguely in Utah because you have a service area, Google doesn't really think that's super relevant, right? They want to know where in Utah your business is located so it can match you with the closest customers. So without getting an address, there's just fewer searches, there's fewer points on the internet that lead you to actually get leads. So you can verify an address. In fact, the office that I'm standing in right now was only a couple $100 because I'm subleasing it from someone. And instead of spending $500 a month on Google ads that don't work, or $400 a month on random crap in marketing, I spend a couple $100 on this office, and even me, a marketing company, got leads from AI, which is kind of hard to believe. But just like 3 days ago, I got my first AI lead from my Google business profile, which for the record, nobody finds marketing companies from their Google business profile. That's like not a thing. The fourth thing that holds most of the companies that I've audited back from making this leap is they haven't committed to their business. And this one's a hard reality that I think a lot of people are really scared to do. The more that I talk to people and the more that I offer our services to, the more that I learn that a lot of people are doing this as a hobby, right? They're spending 10 hours a week doing a job on Saturday, doing a job on Friday. Pretty tough for you to get a job from a customer that specifically fits your schedule. Isn't the whole point of being a service business providing a service when they want it? So whenever I have someone that comes to me that's like, hey, I only do jobs on Saturday, I'm like, hey, it's just, we can't help you. Because the amount of customers that are searching for your stuff on a specific date is extremely difficult. And why would they pick you? Why would they pick you instead of somebody else that can do it within their time window? So commitment to your company, what that looks like, you only do your thing. So if you're a general contractor, be a general contractor and make that commitment. Decide to grow your business. And I love, there's an internet marketing guy named Alex Hormozy that talks about the consequence of decisions. And the origin term of decide is decadere, which means to cut off. So a lot of general contractors are not willing to cut off and niche down. They're not willing to cut off these crappy jobs because it feels good to get revenue in. And they're not willing to cut off that crappy work in order to get that big stuff. So you need to commit that you are a remodeling company. You need to commit to your business and really push it all the day long, because the people that commit and you don't are just going to get the jobs that you don't. And that's just something I see almost every day of the week when I'm talking to people that are like, yeah, no, I'm still trying to get enough leads to go full time. And I'm like, cool. It's kind of a chicken and the egg and the chicken situation. Life is hard. Make the commitment before the chicken and the egg situation. Just make your decision and commit to build your company. The last one on this list is one that I'm a little biased towards, but I understand why it happens, is you need to not give up on marketing. And this one's tough because in the marketing industry, there are a lot of people out there that are basically copy and pasting softwares and reselling them to you. They're outsourcing their work to foreign continents and doing really crappy work on your business, but you don't know that. It's a horrible industry. Marketing is a tough industry in the local service industry. I mean, you can go to YouTube and type up local service marketing and you'll see a slew of like 20-year-old dudes that are traveling the world doing marketing for local service companies and charging a couple $100 a month. Do you want to know why? Because they can charge a couple $100 a month, do a crappy job, but they do enough that it feels good enough to you. And this is what makes you want to give up on marketing. I talk to maybe 5 people a week that are like, hey, marketing just doesn't work. And I'm like, well, tell that to several of my clients that are doing over 5 million a year because of marketing, right? So these 2 things on the bottom, 4 and 5, are more of like mental shifts for you as a business owner. Because of your commitment to build your company, you have to decide to build your company. And by giving up on marketing, you're basically saying, hey, I'm just going to take whatever jobs come my way, which makes every single thing on this list completely useless. So to go through these things in order that will help you get more leads, you need to own your assets. You need to actually own your site, own your Google business profile, and not pay for them monthly. That's just going to siphon away money from your business, especially on those months where you have to front cash flow for those bigger jobs. The second thing, we need to niche down. You're not a general contractor anymore. You are a specialist at one thing. That doesn't mean you're a remodeler, right? That means you're a bathroom remodeler, kitchen remodeler, cabinet installer, kitchen resurfacing, flooring, tile. Pick a thing and do it the best. Because if you don't, you're never going to be able to charge the amount that you want. Third, you need an address. This is non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. You cannot not do this. Like if you choose to not get an address, first, anybody that's doing marketing for you should not. It's just useless because we can't, as a marketer, I can't tell people where you're located. It's a waste of time. This is your first marketing expense. This is not because you want to go sit in your office and do work from an office. This is to verify your Google business profile, and that's it. This is your first monthly marketing cost. Next, commit to your business. I've just seen so many part-time remodelers or general contractors that keep trying to get the money before they make the decision, and they never do. And then they've been a contractor for 40 years. Do you want to be a contractor in 40 years? I don't think so. And then the last thing, you need to not give up on marketing. This is how we grow companies. This is how everybody grows their companies. Even word of mouth is considered marketing. The biggest thing I say this for is because there's so many people out there that have worked with 9 different companies that all charge $300 to $500 a month, and they all promise you that you're going to get like 19 bathroom remodels from that. If that were true, why are we not all millionaires? These 5 things combined are the 5 biggest beliefs and actions that someone has to take to go from general contractor that's broke and scared to a specialist that can actually charge the amount they want to and getting leads. If you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed the whiteboard format, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. If not, just tell me. I'm a new YouTuber, so if I'm trying to create better content and give away more of our secrets. If there's a specific thing you want to hear about, drop it down here. If you didn't like the whiteboard format, tell me what you do like. And more importantly, if you like the content, I would appreciate you to go watch some of my longer videos that go over our whole strategy piece by piece so that you can just do it yourself. If you want to do that, click here. And if you want to subscribe, you know what to do.